The closing stages of the season are here, and we have our first title winners. Toulouse defeated a Leinster side in a 100-minute classic to claim the European title. The Toulouse style has had a storied history, underlined by their now 6 European titles. But what do the numbers tell us about the current iteration of this French side, and what can we learn from Toulouse's latest triumph? Toulouse's attack has been immense so far this season, underlined by their average of 42.75 points per game in the European Cup. This was good enough for second place, slightly below the 43 points per game of Bordeaux. One of the mainstays of their attack is the width they put on the ball. They average the 5th most width in Europe. The use of layers is key in this, as we can see in the following attacks as they try and outflank their opponents. This attack from the game against Stade Francais shows a great example of their wide attack despite starting from typical Toulouse chaos. Toulouse use a wide pass from 9 with a tip pass then adding extra width again. This allows them to hit the 7th Stade Francais defender. This width places Stade Francais' fold under huge pressure, especially as Toulouse beat the first tackle attempt. However, the side in pink are able to put in a good fight in the tackle and slow the ball. This means they can get around the corner, but Toulouse are also able to flood the open side. This creates a 9-on-7 from a 70% ruck. If they were to pass the ball straight across the line, then they would struggle against the Stade Francais defence. Instead, they use a layered attack, trying to pin the inside defence and allow them to attack the 2 widest defenders. The use of layers is a staple of modern rugby, and the execution from Toulouse is solid. The first pass hits a forward pod who pivot but do enough to hold the initial defenders. Archie then times his run well to put doubt in the 5th defender's mind. This isolates the 2 final defenders in the whole 15-metre channel. Thomas Ramos gives an early pass to Capuozzo. This means that all the space is conserved and the Italian can carve through. He does get caught by the covering defenders, however he offloads inside to scrum half Grau to score under the posts. This attack against Quins again shows the danger Toulouse can pose. Using their depth, Toulouse are able to contract the Quins defence before then making ground out wide. We see similar ideas to create the first try of the European final here. A carry from Miafu gets them on the front foot. Again, this carry adds width to the attack, with Miafu kicking out towards centre field. From this width, we again see Toulouse have established a 3-1 backline attack shape. The first 3-man pod carries a little, but then passes early to Entomac, who then gives another early pass. The second layer does well again to contract the wide defenders. Ramos holds the ball this time, turning his opponent inside and out before giving a short pass. This creates a 2-on-1 against the final defender, and Toulouse are able to score. While in this try against Exeter we don't see exactly the same shapes, there are similar principles. Toulouse are happy to shift the ball to width early. This allows them to attract the widest defenders and force decisions. Notice again the hard work done in support, with Toulouse flooding through with 4 players ready to finish off the score. While in this first section we focused on Toulouse's wide attack, in this part of the video we will look at the danger they pose around the ruck. This attack against Montpellier, with Toulouse in white, sees them hit a concentrated channel with their attack. While it's not only the use of pick and goes, we can see multiple runners being used to hit within a few metres either side of the ruck. A great line from the hooker then allows Toulouse to break through. Another interesting point is the role of the scrum half. Notice how often the 9 gets in the pocket just behind the ruck and is able to scoot and challenge the fringe defenders before releasing a runner. We see the Toulouse scrum half adding an extra man here to spark a score against Exeter, while it also allows them to go close here against Racing. Notice how the scrum half's movement fixes the final defender in shot. This forces Gael Ficou to make a decision and he shoots out. Untermac shows a lovely piece of skill to get the ball away, and this allows Kinghorn to then break through a soft tackle and offload. While Racing do scramble well, it shows the danger of adding an extra man into an attack. One major threat within the Toulouse attack is their offloading game. As you can see in this clip, they are great at getting support around the ball carrier ready to receive those passes. This has enabled them to make an average of 29.5 offloads per game, according to Oval's data. This is more than anyone in Europe's top 3 leagues this season. One nice element of Toulouse's offloading game is their ability to stand in the tackle and give the ball directly to the 9. This clip from the game against Racing shows this again. Miafu carries from the base of the ruck, standing in the tackle and dropping the ball to the scrum half. That allows them to flood the surrounding channel and get on the front foot. We saw the result of this passage against Exeter earlier, but we can see the influence of offloads in getting Toulouse's attack momentum. Costes runs a tight line to the breakdown and then offloads back to Dupont, who is able to challenge behind the defence before offloading again. While the ruck is then disrupted, they offload from the floor and are able to secure a more stable platform. From this platform, they then run that strike play we saw earlier and score out wide. This final clip against Quins again shows Toulouse's approach to offloading out the tackle, which then enables the French side to flank their opponents. Miafu carrying hard but gets held by the Quins defenders, so he works hard to get the ball back to Dupont. Malvaca then takes the ball, holding his feet and lifting it up inside for Ntamack. The fly half then fires a ball over the top of the defence, and Toulouse are able to score in the corner. This final attack shows a lot of what Toulouse are good at: the offloading, the layered wide attack, and then individual skill sets. But attack is only one part of a good side, and Toulouse's defence is just as immense. Across the Champions Cup, they restricted sides to 18.75 points per game, a true championship winning standard. So let's dive into how Toulouse constructed this major part of their game. In the following clips, we see a team who are trying to get off the line and apply pressure as a cohesive unit. Unlike the extreme hit-or-miss blitz of Leinster under Jacques Nienaber, we see that Toulouse stay connected as a line and try and push teams back through constant attrition. In this extended defensive set against Racing 92, we see Toulouse stay in their lanes, trying to apply pressure without vacating a space which the opponents could then play into. Even when Racing try and come back to the short side, they are met by an organised wall of red. Having started the attack beyond the 10-metre line, the attritional defence of Toulouse has driven Racing back, and they force a kick back behind the 10-metre. In this phase against Exeter, we see a defence put under stress. This is because Exeter are able to flank what has become a narrowed Toulouse defensive line. While some teams, such as the Springboks, would fly out of the line and look for a big hit, Toulouse instead go soft and are willing to concede ground to maintain the line's integrity and force Chiefs to an edge. In this passage against Montpellier, we see similar themes. In this passage against Montpellier, we see similar themes from their defence, with Toulouse in white able to deal with many of the threats from their French opponents. Montpellier try and play wide off the kick return initially, however notice how Toulouse's backline responds. First pushing up aggressively to give themselves cover before shifting into neutral and sliding across the pitch. This forces Montpellier into the 15-metre channel, where Toulouse are able to try and disrupt the breakdown. Their opponents do generate quick ball, but Toulouse are able to fire off the line and make a tackle on a gain line. Toulouse fold well and then quickly are off the line again, putting their opponents under more pressure, even as they try and play wide. The tackle is well made before Montpellier then hit back into midfield and are forced to kick away possession. While Montpellier do regain the kick, this defence set from Toulouse is an excellent watch. They look comfortable as teams try and stretch the field before working hard to get set and then building the pressure through multiple hits behind the gain line. One area of their defence that Toulouse have been truly magnificent this season is the amount of times they can win the ball back. They have created, on average, 7.8 turnovers per game this season, the fourth most of all teams in Europe. Part of this has been some utter mongrel and ability to recover from line breaks by turning over the ball. While they have also been helped by having numerous jackal threats across their team. Dupont and Ntamack combined to turn the ball over on the previous clip before Julien Marchand latches on in this clip against Exeter, while in the following clip, outside centre Paul Costes gets the credit. Another part of their ability to turn over the ball has been an excellence in counter-rucking. Toulouse have won 16 turnovers from counter-rucking this season, good enough for third in Europe. This helps them slow the ball and also, of course, allows them to turn the ball over on occasion. Take a look at this steal against Montpellier. Toulouse are stretched in the wide channel, but then the tackler makes a second effort to disrupt the ball. With initial success, reinforcements pile in and they win the penalty. While it is fairly common in the wide channel, the following two clips show how Toulouse use dominant tackles to then trigger a fire and attack the breakdown. In this first clip, a big hit is followed instantly by a pair of Toulouse players firing through the heart of the Chiefs' ruck, while a scrappy line-out from Toulon is duly punished in the top 14 here. A dominant hit takes the Toulon player away from his support and Toulouse fire through to win the penalty. One other huge element of their success this season has been the driving maul. No side has mauled for as many metres as Toulouse this season. Second place La Rochelle are 70 metres behind. One of the main reasons they have achieved this success is their ability to shield the jumper. Notice here against Montpellier how quickly the lifters are able to take the space behind the jumper and protect the transfer. This means the ball is secured before they then drive forward. The constant pressure in this maul then forces a penalty. In this maul against Racing, we see a good sack, with Toulouse unable to get their shields in place. However, the transfer was quick, and they are able to change impetus to charge over. In this clip against Orniacs, we see a much better protection of the jumper, and the Toulouse maul gets very close, even if they are stopped short. Both of the final two clips showed Toulouse's willingness to attack down the 5-metre channel. This has become a commonplace tactic at the club. They have also noticeably used front dumps and shifts to great success. Here against Montpellier, their dump drive gets momentum, but they are just about bundled into touch. While against Ulster here, we see a hugely dominant surge following a front shift. It's become a real weapon in Toulouse's armoury. One interesting element of the Toulouse line-out is how they have adopted around playing personnel. Toulouse are a huge side, and while they are athletic, the sheer size of some of their second rowers can make them difficult to get into the air. However, we have seen a tactical adaptation to this weakness. Toulouse have been using their non-jumper right at the front of lineouts to offer a lifting option and a decoy. Notice in this first clip against Castres how they start in a typical 1-3-2, before shifting their non-jumper to the front in a 1-3-1. Castres sacrificed the front in their line-out defence, and Toulouse win the free ball. The positioning of number 5, who was earlier shifted down to the front, remember, then gives them a rock-solid front anchor, enabling Toulouse a solid platform to maul through. Against Bordeaux, we see a similar shift. This time number 4 moves to the front. Bordeaux respond by shifting to cover the front, which then opens the tail, where Toulouse are able to win the ball. And while they don't gain much ground due to a strong sack, it goes to show the influence of their shift formation, which allows them to put their non-jumpers to the best use, either giving a large weight to the front of the maul, or by dragging an opponent's defence, which can open the tail. After all, the line-out is about chess, not checkers. Toulouse secured a 6th star this year, after a season built on scintillating attack and a defence built around constant pressure and a truly dominant driving ball. The consistency of their performances and ability to put sides to the sword has resulted in a trophy which reflects their titanic efforts. These performances have been underlined in the top 14, where they sit currently top of the table. The question is, can they do the double?